What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video on the channel today. In today's video, we are going to be talking about, in my opinion, the biggest question marks going into the 2023 NFL season. Every single year before the season starts, there's a lot of questions that hopefully get answered throughout the course of the season. There's a lot of things going on, especially with this offseason and the way that the NFL is trending, that we just don't know. There were some big moves that we're waiting to see if they're going to pan out. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 10 biggest questions for the 2023 NFL season and providing my guess to those questions, giving my personal answers. But before we get into that, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 10 million, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could help me out. And comment down below what you think the biggest question is going into this NFL season. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the list. Question number 1. Who is going to win the AFC East? So, the AFC East is, in my opinion, one of the best divisions in the entire National Football League. You got the Bills, who have kind of owned the division ever since Brady left New England. The Bills, led by Josh Allen, good really good quarterback, I should say. Stephon Diggs, there's some drama going on there maybe. I think the Bills' defense got a little bit worse with Leslie Frazier leaving. But when the Bills falter a little bit, it seems like the other three teams in the division got better. Talking about the Patriots for a second, obviously they still have Bill Belichick, who is the most accomplished coach in the history of the NFL. I think that they are going to get better, at least on the offensive side of the ball, after hiring Bill O'Brien. They now finally have a real offensive coordinator, which is awesome. But the two teams that I want to talk about specifically in the AFC East that I think are the biggest threat to the Bills are going to be obviously the Jets and the Dolphins, who both improved a lot in this offseason. The Jets obviously got Aaron Rodgers, and so we're waiting to see how that kind of turns out. They also added a lot of other young players in free agency, and they had a really good rookie class last year. Garrett Wilson was awesome. Can he be awesome again? Sauce Gardner was one of the best corners in the NFL, and Breece Hall's going to come back. And Breece Hall is hopefully going to be very good for the Jets. And then Miami, can Tua stay healthy? How is Vic Fangio going to run that defense? I think they got Jalen Ramsey as well. This division is stacked, and I'm very curious to see who is going to win this division in the end. But speaking of the New York Jets for a second, my second question is, how are both sides of the Aaron Rodgers trade going to fare in 2023? Now, that's kind of a double-edged coin, if you will. So I mentioned before with the AFC East, it kind of depends on how good Aaron Rodgers is. Can he go back to his MVP form that he had in 2020 and 2021? Or is what he played like last year indicative of how he's going to play for the remainder of his career? Now, on the other side of that coin, Jordan Love is also a huge question. Is he the quarterback that the Packers took, and is he worth the first-round pick that they used on him, or is he a middle-of-the-pack guy that really hasn't seen the field for a reason? We don't know. Can the Packers go 3 for 3 for Hall of Fame quarterbacks in their last 3 tries? Hopefully not, because I live in Illinois. That would fucking suck. But Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers are both big question marks heading into the 2023 season. It's going to be big. It's going to be very interesting to see how they fare. Question number 3. Speaking of quarterbacks, I'm going to name this the traded for first round pick quarterback club bounce back in 2023? The 3 guys in those club that I'm going to talk about are Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, and Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford had a bad year last year, and the Rams as a whole had a just really bad year after winning the Super Bowl in the year prior. He was both not great in terms of on the field, and he did get injured and missed several games. Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, well, one of them was suspended. Guess who? Also didn't really put up good seasons at all. Russell Wilson was pretty bad all year, and the Broncos sucked. And then Deshaun Watson missed 11 games and then was not really good version of Deshaun Watson when he came back. So can those 3 guys bounce back and become the quarterbacks that were traded for big assets? You know what I mean? Stafford, I think, is questionable because of that elbow injury. I don't know the severity of what that is like for him. But with Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson, I can pretty confidently say that, yes, they will be much better than they were last year. Deshaun especially, he's going to play at the start of the year. And Russell Wilson, I think, getting Sean Payton added to his coaching staff, replacing him with Nathaniel Hackett, I think that's huge. And I think that Russell Wilson is going to look a lot more like he did in Seattle than what he did in Denver last year. So those 3 first-round pick traded for quarterbacks in the club, they have a country club. It's like they go golfing and shit. They're all going to see who can improve the most. And I think all 3 of those teams could, without the Rams, all 2 of those teams could be potential playoff teams. Question number 4. Who will be the biggest breakout star of 2023? A lot of people, including myself, would probably say Justin Fields. Bears added a lot of weapons around him. Seems to be, a good jump in year 3 with a lot of quarterbacks, like most namely Josh Allen. But maybe it's, Sam Howell. Maybe it's somebody else that maybe it's, Drake London. Who knows? So every single year, obviously, there's breakout stars in the NFL. And I think a big question heading into this year is who will be the breakout star of 2023? Number 5, and this is a question that gets asked every single year. Who's going to win the awards? Who's going to win MVP? Who's going to win Defensive Player of the Year? Who's going to win Coach of the Year? And I won't necessarily give my answers in this video because I do plan on making a separate video talking about who I think will win each award. But that's always a question that people have. It's always a question in people's minds of who's going to win MVP, So that's a big question going into 2023. Number 6, and this is a question, again, that people have been asking pretty much every single year. Will the 49ers' lackluster play at quarterback limit them from reaching and or winning the Super Bowl? Now, the answer to this question in every single season pretty much has been yes. Jimmy Garoppolo has held the 49ers back. I think, Brock Purdy's injury held the 49ers back from at least being competitive in the NFC Championship game last year. And as stacked as the 49ers roster is defensively, offensively, sans the quarterback, and Kyle Shanahan being a really good coach, they've just been consistently held back by quarterback play, whether that's injuries, whether that's piss-poor performance. The quarterback spot has been the plague that has eaten up their season many, many, many times. And, I think Brock Purdy showed some very promising signs last year, but A, is he going to be healthy? B, can he repeat his performance? C, is he going to lose his job to Sam Darnold or Trey Lance? There's just a lot of questions with the 49ers. I still don't feel great about their quarterbacks, and to that regard, I would say that they're leaning more towards not being able to fulfill their potential because of that, but I just don't know. I really don't know. So that's a big question heading into 2023, in my opinion. Speaking of frauds, or speaking of potential frauds, chill in the comments, can Geno Smith prove that he was not a one-hit wonder? That's question number 7 on my list. And can the Seahawks offense be as good or even better than they were last year? Is Geno Smith going to revert back to New York Jets Geno Smith, or is this the Geno that is here to stay? Is he going to be consistently one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL going forward, or is he going to regress from what he did last year? To me, that's a big question. I made a video about it a little bit ago, so if you guys want to check it out, make sure to go check it out. But my answer, I would lean towards no, he is not a fraud. I think that Geno Smith is here to stay, and I think he's going to be a top 10-ish quarterbacks for at least a couple more seasons. Question number 8. Who wins the Tank Bowl for Caleb Williams? Last year, the winner of the Tank Bowl was the Chicago Bears, but they forfeited their prize money by trading their pick to the Carolina Panthers. I don't think that the first overall pick will be traded in next year's draft, however, because Caleb Williams is on the mind of every draft analyst, every GM, every team, and whoever gets the coveted number 1 overall pick will take him in a literal heartbeat. Now, my answer to the question of who wins the Tank Bowl is probably going to be the Buccaneers. I think that top to bottom, they have probably one of the worst rosters, including coach and quarterback. And I think that if they are in position to take Caleb Williams first overall, they most definitely will. I mean, that would be a pretty good transition from Brady to a 1-year gap to then Caleb Williams coming in 2024. But there are a few other teams that are obviously in contention for that, but I think the Buccaneers probably have the best odds to win the Tank Bowl. My 9th question of this video is going to be who wins the AFC? There's a lot of really, really good AFC teams. I think we can agree that the AFC is much better than the NFC. Obviously, the Chiefs have been dominating the AFC for years, but the Bengals have proven to be able to beat them more than once. Let's not also forget about the Buffalo Bills, who have been really dominant in the regular season for many, many seasons, and Josh Allen is a fantastic quarterback. I think the Dolphins have cemented themselves as legitimate AFC championship contenders. I think also the Chargers are pretty damn good as well. Let's not forget about the Jaguars, who keep improving and improving. The Ravens with Lamar Jackson. I mean, the AFC is so stacked, and I think a big question heading into this year is who is going to win the AFC. Now, my answer is probably a boring answer. It's going to be Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs once again. But I wouldn't be surprised if Joe Burrow gets him again, or maybe Josh Allen finally gets his turn to go to the Super Bowl, or if the Dolphins' high-powered offense is just too much for defenses to handle and they end up punching their ticket to New Orleans or Las Vegas, wherever the Super Bowl is, Las Vegas this year, and going to the Super Bowl. But I think the AFC is going to be a dogfight this year, and I'm actually very excited to see who comes out on top. And then my last question for this video is, can anybody beat the Eagles? And the Eagles, in my opinion, are the most well-designed roster I've seen in quite some time. They are really, really good at every single position. Jalen Hurts is awesome. The receivers are awesome. The offensive line is awesome. Tight end is really, really good. The defense is awesome. They got their corners back. I think that the Eagles are a really, really stacked team who added a bunch of young talent in this offseason, and it's going to be hard for literally everybody to beat the Eagles. So can anybody do it? Yeah, I'm sure they won't go perfect, but can anybody do it in the playoffs? The Chiefs barely did, so I think it'll be fun to see if the Eagles are hot and rolling around playoff time, and if they're able to just steamroll through the playoffs. Now, the last thing I'll say, the only small kryptonite they might have is the fact that they did lose both their offensive and defensive coordinators, which kind of sucks. I also think their secondary and their linebacking core is weaker than people think. James Bradbury and Darius Slay were good last year, but they're also getting older, so I think there could be some weakness there. But, man, everywhere else, they're just adding Jalen Carter to that defensive line is just absolutely criminal. But in my opinion, those are the 10 biggest questions heading into the 2023 NFL season. Comment what your biggest question is down below. I can't wait to read it. And until then, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.